I'm always taking notes in my notebook, and today one of the boys decided to write in my notebook on the side, "Hello, Dad, you are very Gucci." I think it says Gucci. Is that good or bad? I'll take it as good. How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today we're going to be talking about solutions and options that we have for being able to use power in our rig, power in our RV when we don't have the ability to be able to plug it in. So when we're out boondocking or whatever circumstance you find yourself in where you can't plug in your RV. The good news is there's been lots of technology, lots of advancements in this area, a lot of competition in a lot of these different areas too, that give us as consumers a lot of options that have really helped the price come down to a more reasonable level. So there's some great stuff happening. So let's talk about the power solutions that we have for our RVs. Now, another thing to keep in mind is how you're using that energy when you're out there. So we have a good battery monitor with a shunt. It's the Victron one. It shows how much energy is going into the batteries, how much is coming out of the batteries, and it's a great indicator to how much energy we're using and consuming and how much we're really gonna need to produce. So with that, if we get out there and I realize that, hey, I'm drawing 30 amps out of our batteries and I don't really have anything on, well, I could check something like the fridge and see if I switch that over to propane. If I switch that over to propane and use that energy source for that device, I'm not using the electricity that I'm hoping to keep in the batteries or use in a different way. So being mindful of how you use the energy when you're out there is a great thing, and having a great battery monitor to be able to tell you that information accurately is wonderful. So let's look at one of the more popular solutions for getting power while you're boondocking, which is solar. People love it, and there's a lot of great reasons why people love it. For one, once you have it set up, it's silent. You don't have a generator running in the back. You don't have to really babysit it. If you leave your rig for a little bit, it's still going to be working. You don't have to do anything to keep it active. You don't have to buy any fuel for it. There's just a lot of great things that come with solar. And the good thing about solar right now is there's a lot of competition in the market for it. So like the system that we have, it's 4 100-watt panels. It's not a huge system, but it's a good starting point. So 4 100-watt panels, it came with the mounting brackets, the wires, all the fuses. It came with a really good MPPT charge controller that had Bluetooth. So it was a nice system, and that was for just over $750. And on top of that, the charge controller is a 40 amp charge controller. So if we wanted to add 2 solar panels or 200 watts of solar to the system, it could handle it. So you can buy those individual 100 watt panels for about $109. So the price really isn't that bad. If you didn't want to spend all that much on solar, you could look at a kit with the PWM charge controller, and you could pick up a kit with 4 100 watt solar panels for around $570, $600, somewhere around in there. So there's some good options out there for you in the solar world. So now that we're all set up harvesting that power from the sun, which is still just amazing, how are we going to use it? What if you want to use it for more than just your 12 volt system and running the furnace and turning on the lights? Well, that's where inverters come in. Let me show you ours. So this is our inverter here. It is just a no frills. It was cheap, bought it a couple of years ago, but it's just as basic as it can possibly be. Now we ended up tying it into the system, and what this allows us to do is to be able to plug in anything that is 120 volt and be able to use the power from the batteries and have a household item work. So that in a nutshell is what the inverter is all about. But what are our options out there for inverters? Let's talk about those. There's actually a ton to cover about inverters, so we're not going to cover that today, but we can look at a few notable ones. There's a lot of great options out there for inverters, and you can even look at these. They make a lot of them that are inverter chargers, so they'll charge your batteries too when you're plugged into shore power. But if you're looking at those inverter chargers from Go Power, Xantrex, Magnum, Victron, there's really a lot of great ones out there, and they'll range between around $1,000 to $1,500, and you can just keep going up. But there's a lot of great options out there. But let's talk about more solutions for how we generate power. So even if you have solar, there's going to be circumstances where you need more power. Say you have devices that have a bigger draw, or you have multiple cloudy days where you need to charge up your batteries even though it's cloudy outside. That's where generators are a great place to fill in this gap. Our rig has an onboard generator, so it's extremely simple. We basically just press a button and it fires up 4,000 watts of energy, and our whole rig is up and running at that point. So if we need to turn on the AC, it's no problem. We have the generator to do that when we're not plugged in. But if your rig doesn't have an onboard generator, what are your options out there? And this is where a lot of great competition has been really good for the prices and the options that are available to you. Now, the benchmark in generators for a long time has been Honda. They're well built, long lasting. They're just a quality item. Honda has one in the 2,000 watt range. I think it's a 2,200 watt, but it's gonna run you around $1,000. And what you're gonna get for that price is 2,200 watts of energy, which is going to run a lot of things in your RV. Some ACs will run on this, some will not. Some people have played around with it by putting soft starts on their AC so that it's not that big of a draw in the beginning to trip the generator. But if you want to run your AC, a lot of people will step it up to the 3,000 watt, which we'll get to in a minute. But there's a lot of competition in that 2,000 watt inverter generator. So if you wanted to pick up a WEN 2,000 watt generator, you could get that for around $430, which is a pretty good deal. The things that people like about this size of generator is, number one, it's really easy to handle. It's easy to lift in and out of the back of the truck. They're going to be typically a lot lighter than your 3,000 watt inverter generators. So that is a huge plus for a lot of people. Some people will get two of these because they're easy to handle, and they'll tie them together to get 4,000 watts of energy out of them. And then you have two generators running. But let's move along to the 3,000 watt, kind of that tier of generators. I wrote down some prices this last week. So the Honda one, which is kind of the benchmark, is $2,100 for their around 3,000 watt generator. WEN has one for $669. Champion, they kind of have a nice lineup depending on what features you would like. If you don't care about the electric start and you don't mind pull starting your generator, you can get one of those for $795. If you wanted the electric remote start, you could pick that up for around $830. Now, if you wanted one that can run off of gasoline or propane, so that you don't want to, if you wanted to do propane so that you're not carrying around tanks of gasoline and having to deal with that, you can run it off the propane. That one would run you $899. There's actually quite a few brands worth looking at, but one more is the Furman. And sometimes these will get rebranded and repackaged as other generators, but this one's kind of the core of it. And theirs is starting out at $699, or if you want the electric start, for $759. So as you can see, there's a big price gap there, and it's nice to see a little competition. A lot of these are really, really good options. So I'm gonna put links down in the description to everything we talked about today. The solar, the generators, the inverters, all those kind of things. So if you wanted to continue researching on which ones you want to use, I hope to be able to come back and do reviews and get hands-on reviews of a lot of these different products and tell you what I think about these generators and how heavy they actually are to lift in and out of the bed of a truck. But with these 3,000 watt inverter generators, you can run an AC, you can have your fridge be plugged into using power instead of the propane. You can also be charging your batteries while this is going on. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that 3,000 watt inverter generator. I think it's best when you have a good plan and how you're going to produce power when you're out there. I don't think it's a good idea to run your generator all day and bother the people around you. Especially don't run it all night and bug the people that are boondocking around you or camped near you. You just want to be courteous of the people that are nearby. So if you're not going to go solar and you're not going to do an inverter, but say you still need to be able to run like a CPAP machine at night, and you don't want to run your generator all night. We have one more device, and this is about as simple and as basic as you possibly can get. This little guy has a lithium battery inside. It basically has an inverter, so when you turn that on, it shows you how much battery capacity you have. You can plug in up to 100 watts in this, so it's not like a huge producer of energy, but it's great for just some of that small stuff, for being able to charge your computer or run a CPAP machine at night. If you need to charge anything USB, you could do that here. DC outputs there. You can charge this by plugging it into the wall when you have AC power. You can charge it when you're driving down the road in your vehicle and just plug it into the power adapter in your vehicle, and it'll charge this up. I've heard that people can get about 2 nights using a CPAP machine at night on one of these things. So if you're looking for something extremely simple, this might be a great option for you. I don't know if I'll use this, but it even has a little flashlight. I'll have to double check, but I think this has 42 amp hours of battery in it for around $150. They have different sizes, but yeah, pretty handy little device. So those are the most popular options. You have the most very basic, you have the elegance of solar, or you just have the raw power of a generator. So put together a good plan, check out those links, do a little research, and hopefully I'll be able to send you more reviews your way. But that's gonna do it for today. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And remember, if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we'll see you in the next video.